Find on the comic page. Sweet 16. When Image launched with all new characters, McFarlane didn't have to think long to figure out what he wanted to do. He'd been waiting since 1977 to tell the story of Spawn, a character he created when he was 16 years old, and the dawn of Image Comics gave him the opportunity to bring him to life. Or undeath, depending on how you look at it. To back up his claims of creating Spawn as a teenager, McFarlane took to Facebook in October of 2017 to post what he said was one of his first drawings of the character. He's not quite the version we know today, with a different color scheme and what appears to be a cartoony sidekick, but it's clearly a prototype version of Al Simmons' Hellspawn alter ego. The big difference? McFarlane said he originally envisioned Spawn as being from space rather than the underworld.
Like the thief! Spawn! Getting full of Hell's army!
So many powers. If you don't know much about Spawn, your first instinct might be to ask, what powers does he have? It's a simple question, and even for an infamously powerful character like Superman, you can rattle off a list of all of his major abilities pretty quickly. With Spawn, however, we could be here all day. He's got the standard issue enhanced strength and durability that you'd expect from a superhero, but that's barely scratching the surface. As of Spawn number 4, he was blasting glowing necroplasm out of his hands, and surviving the violent loss of limbs and major organs. In later stories, he's seen teleporting, resurrecting the dead, breathing fire, stopping time, animating chains, and plenty of other wild displays of power. It's enough to make you wonder if he could ever be threatened enough to keep readers interested. But with the comic still going strong after 25 years, it doesn't seem his Swiss Army knife collection of powers has hurt his appeal. A landmark in diversity. Before his death and resurrection, Spawn was Al Simmons, a black man. You wouldn't know that from looking at his full body costume or even the rotted corpse underneath, but that's also on purpose. McFarlane has said on numerous occasions that his choice to make Simmons African American was in part because of a story he never got to tell while he was working on Spider-Man. The hypothetical scene would have Spider-Man save a white man from a black criminal, only to have the man he saved use a racial slur to describe the crook.
Because he's covered from head to toe, unlike Batman. He's covered from head to toe. And go, what color do you think I am underneath this mask?
The 1997 Spawn movie may not have been met with critical acclaim for obvious reasons.
Easy with that face of me. Oops. Oh, what?
Or even record-breaking ticket sales, but McFarlane's choice did lead to a landmark for superhero movies. Michael Jai White wound up being the first African-American actor to play a major comic book superhero, though just barely. Spawn's theatrical release preceded the release of Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal, by only 14 days.
With a will of iron, a heart of gold, and a body of steel.
It's hammer time.
Spawn goes digital. By leaving Marvel at the height of his popularity, co-founding a successful independent publisher, and using a single character's success to launch a cross-media empire, it's easy to argue Todd McFarlane spent a lot of time on the bleeding edge of the comics industry. That's why it's so surprising that when it came to digital publishing, he was one of the last creators to get on board. McFarlane told the Washington Post that holding off from digital publishing was his way of staying loyal to brick-and-mortar comic book shops by keeping Spawn on the shelves and off the tablets. Eventually, though, the convenience of digital won out. At the release of Spawn number 250 in 2015, the entire library became available online. The unreleased crossover. With his overwhelming popularity in the 90s, it's not surprising that Spawn starred in plenty of crossovers, including 2 notable stories where he teamed up with Batman. The first was drawn by McFarlane with a script by Dark Knight Returns creator Frank Miller, which actually left literal scars on Spawn that carried over to his own comic. The second was Batman Spawn War Devil, and in 2015, McFarlane revealed that there were originally plans to complete a Batman Spawn trilogy that never came to pass. McFarlane signed on to write and ink, while artist Greg Capullo, who got his start on Spawn before moving to an epic 5-year run on Batman, would have drawn. McFarlane didn't say precisely why the crossover died on the vine, only that it was for a variety of reasons which he claimed most of the responsibility for. The war over Angela. During the first year of Spawn, McFarlane invited a number of well-known comic book writers to write issues of the series, including notable writer Neil Gaiman. In Spawn number 9, Gaiman introduces an angelic warrior named Angela in the medieval Spawn, who would wind up being very important as Spawn's saga went on. Gaiman felt he deserved more compensation for his contributions, and after a failed negotiation involving the rights to another character, Gaiman filed suit against McFarlane in 2002. 10 years later, the two creators finally settled. The details weren't released to the public, but Gaiman was granted ownership of Angela. In 2013, in a move that surprised many readers, he brought her into the Marvel Universe, where she was eventually revealed to be Thor's sister. McFarlane's diplomatic response to the news was that whatever Neil chooses to do with something that he owns is at his complete and utter discretion. Taking back the reins. Over 20 years after his first film, Spawn is returning to the big screen in a live-action reboot scheduled for production in 2018, and this time McFarlane will be writing and directing. He's made it clear he doesn't intend for it to be anything like the 1997 movie, and even claims that it won't be a superhero film either. Instead, he frequently compares it to Steven Spielberg's Jaws, with Spawn in the role of the shark. The story will be told through the eyes of the normal people around him and will skip over the origin story completely. As McFarlane says, did they tell me why the shark was so damn big? No. Did it matter to me? No. Will it be as ridiculous as the first?
Hello, you. Thanks for watching.